Hello, Exiles. This is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and welcome to another Path of Exile video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about another prospective League starter, something that I've actually been working on for a long time, but it hasn't really been able to work. And the thing I wanted to do is I always wanted to take Elementalist and be able to create huge ignites with skills that just have really high base damage. But the skills were always kind of overshadowed by different skills that had ignite multipliers on them, making it feel not really worth it. And the damage I got out of it wasn't as good as I'd hoped. I was able to successfully pilot a couple of skills, with one in particular that I'm going to talk about, to a decent level of success, but nothing that could really get you into super late game. But with the changes to elemental damage over time, we now have player ignites now inherently deal 150% more damage than before. Previously 50% of base damage over 4 seconds, now 125% of base damage over 4 seconds. And this is actually really huge. And to compensate, they've kind of lowered some of the skills that had an innate ignite multiplier, and you can read about that in the patch notes, which are now out, and I'm very, very excited. But then I took a look at some of the other new spoilers, and one of the things that we have now are masteries, which when you get a notable in a cluster, you will get a mastery, the first notable you allocate. So for instance, even if you allocate both of these notables, in fact, you might only be able to allocate this one, you'll get access to spend a skill point into one of these masteries. And some of these are really exciting for Ignite builds in general, but definitely make me want to play a specific kind of build. So we have fire exposure. You inflict applies an extra 5 or minus 5% to fire resist. This is the exciting one, or one of the exciting ones for me. Recover 2% of life when you ignite a non-ignited enemy. And then you have like damage conversion, which is cool, and fire damage per strength, which is awesome because there's going to be a lot of strength stacking casters, I imagine, like maybe some Armageddon brand or cremation strength stackers now. But yeah, I'll potentially go over a build with that in a little while. And then we also get 20% to fire damage over time multiplier with the cost of minus 30% fire resistance, which is very easily overcome. So lots of cool stuff here with the masteries, and each fire cluster, which there are 3 or 4 you can easily take if you're anywhere near the top left side of the tree, will have access to one of these. So you could easily get 2 or 3 of these pretty solidly. Now, one of the downsides of Ignite is they have removed or kind of hindered the ability for elemental overload and elemental equilibrium to the point where it's not worth using them. But I think we have some other interesting tools, and with the initial damage increase to 150% of the hit, I think we might be able to still get some really cool numbers, especially considering we're going to be able to inflict an extreme amount of exposure. I'm going to pull up my character now that I kind of built as a proof of concept and show that off. So see you in a sec. Alright, so here is my build. I'm using a lot of really bad gear, nothing too great. I guess I have a physical as extra lightning. But what this is I'm utilizing Wave of Conviction. Wave of Conviction is special in a lot of different ways. First of all, it inherently applies exposure, so they are changing elemental equilibrium to now apply exposure instead of giving minus res, and it's going to make it a little bit harder to properly use that with Ignite skills. But yeah, I'm using Wave of Conviction, and the idea is to get a lot of damage conversion, because this has a lot of different ways to get it. You get physical damage converted to lightning, and then physical damage converted to fire, and you can get a bunch of sources of physical as more, such as hatred, such as Herald of Ash, obliteration, which I'm going to talk about in great detail because this is one of 2 ways you can get fast clear speed with this build. And Yeah, Shaper of Flames is the main thing for this. So we want to make sure that our highest source of damage is fire, because then we'll get 25% more damage. This is very easy to do. Currently, when I'm out of town here, I have the highest as fire, even with hatred up. So get rid of these. But yeah, as you can see, I do the most fire damage. In fact, my minimum fire damage is higher than both my maximum lightning, cold, and chaos damage. And yeah, you just want a huge base hit because, believe it or not, and I'll kind of show you this if you're not aware, since the ignite does count the initial hit, you can see here I'm going to disable. Oops. I'm gonna go ahead and disable hatred. So currently on my top end I'm doing about 38,000 ignites, and this is with like low level gems, level 15 wave of conviction, and it goes down to 34,000 on top end. So I'm getting basically, you know, like 12% more damage flat out with hatred as far as with my ignite. And that scales with all of the other stuff too. And there are some interesting things I'll talk about with my skill gem setup as well, but first I want to talk about some of the other benefits. So, with fire, we've seen the new skill tree. We don't know what all of the nodes do, but things like Divine Wrath and Divine Fury are still here, so I'm hoping that they provide the same effect. If not, you can just get sources from other things, but these provide full conversion, full elemental damage conversion, a lot of damage because it gives physical and elemental damage, so that'll scale your initial hit as well as the damage over time. And then they also gain percent physical as extra fire and percent physical as extra lightning. So those are basically more multipliers to your base damage. You can also get a portion of your physical damage as extra fire through magmatic strikes. I pathed the wrong way here because I was using shield charge, which is getting a nerf in damage. So my initial idea was to use shield charge to do the same thing. The idea, and it might still work, I don't know how nerfed shield charge is going to be, but with the ignite buffs, basically what I would do is I used shield charge, and I would use the Diadem Dawn, which is very, very strong for faster ignites, and then I got full conversion with like Hrim Sorrow and with the conversion from magmatic strikes and that kind of thing. So yeah, we were able to get pretty close to full physical damage conversion with that. And as you saw on the fire wheel at the fire masteries, there's another source of conversion as well for another 40%. So you can get 80% fire conversion directly and just get Avatar of Fire or something, or, you know, but there's a lot of different things you can do. You can just get like gloves that convert the rest or something. But that's pretty much the idea, is you just get these big base damage, and then the rest is just fire damage over time, fire damage over time multiplier. Ignites deal damage faster, so this kind of wheel is going to be really nice. I'm going to grab Chance to Ignite and Ignite Speed soon as well. And that's pretty much the whole thing. You would level this build using Liege of the Primordial and Elemancer, because golems will be a lot easier. You can basically use like Purifying Flame or Holy Flame Totem, or really whatever. You can just use Explosive Trap to level up until you get Wave of Conviction, which I believe is level 18 in Act 2 if I recall correctly. And then you start using Wave of Conviction, and I've leveled with Wave of Conviction. It's surprisingly powerful. Like, its base hit damage is so good, and as soon as you just rush straight over, like, in the beginning you'll scale through the spell damage and grab, like, Heart and Soul, and then beeline over through the life wheel. And, oh yeah, I still have Divine Fervor, which I don't need anymore either. So I haven't fully respec'd this. So... but anyway, I'm going to show the clear real quick and how it kind of works. And so for clear, you'll use either Aberrath's Hooves, which basically make it so when enemies die by ignite, an ignite of equal damage will spread to a nearby enemy, or spread to all nearby enemies. or dual wielding obliteration. I've tried with one obliteration with shield charge, it didn't feel that good, but with two it actually feels really nice. Two good things from obliteration. One, you get a percentage of physical damage as extra chaos, which helps scale that initial hit, which gives you bigger ignites. Secondly, enemies you kill have a 20% chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their maximum life as chaos damage. So not only do you get a huge hit based on enemy life, but that hit will also ignite, which will be scaled with all of your fire damage over time multiplier, etc. And this will also gain that 150% buff from the changes coming up to ignite, which was not the case before. So basically what I do here is I just start throwing in. And you can see it basically, one will pop the whole screen. Sometimes you will not kill higher health rares even with the explosions, so you'll have to recast Wave of Conviction on them. But yeah, if you've ever done like a dual obliteration build, you kind of get the idea of what kind of clear it can get. But with the Shaper of Flames from Elementalist, it really goes to the next level, because your ignites count as you killing them. So as the explosions ignite more enemies, they will then explode when they die, which will spread to more enemies, and it's very apparent in extremely monster dense areas, such as if you do a breach stone, it'll become very apparent how powerful this is. This interaction is extremely strong, and obliteration's a very common and very cheap unique. So if you're in Trade League, you're going to get these. I'm in solo self-found right now. I have like 5 obliterations. I get so many obliterations all the time. Abrath's hooves might be a little bit more expensive and be harder to find, but yeah, that's basically the clear. And then you would actually use a weapon swap as well. And you would put the same skills in your weapon swap. I don't remember what I have my weapon swap bound to off the top of my head. I'd have to check, because I think I have it bound to a special key. But basically, I don't have this set up right now. This was just a proof of concept. But you would have, the nice thing about Wave of Conviction, you would have dual wield scepters in your weapon swap. Wave of Conviction can benefit from plus to fire skill gems, from plus to lightning skill gems, and plus to physical. So it's a lot easier to find a plus to skill gem scepter that may also have other beneficial ones, because you can set up searches for any of those 3. Like you can set up on the trade site to have like a count, and you put that with like damage over time multiplier, fire damage over time multiplier, fire damage, elemental damage, and plus to all skill gems. And you look for like 2 out of all of those, or like 3 or something. Just set it up, however much money you have and what you want to set up, and you get 2 scepters like that. Put them in your weapon swap, and for bosses you simply swap over to those, and your single target DPS will go up considerably. You will also Flame Surge is being buffed to help do extra single target damage when you're using an ignite build, and I think it'll probably be a nice little extra supplement to that as well. But yeah, you can see I'm using garbage gear. I'm just using like a Tabula Gold Rim. The double obliteration is fine, a hoop. This random ring with 73 life and not much else. This amulet actually has... this is giving me damage. And I am running Pain Seekers just for fun, because I didn't have anything else to put in that. And then Wanderlust and the Magnate. So yeah, it doesn't matter. The only things that are going to be important are going to be, eventually you get a 6 link, of course, so a Tabula will be nice, but then you'll just trade it up for another 6 link. And the 2 obliterations or Abrath's hooves, one of the 2. If you get Abrath's hooves, you can just stay in your double scepter setup with all the extra damage on it all the time, and it'll be way better. But in the beginning, you'll probably pick up obliterations for like an elk, maybe a chaos. You'll be able to get 2 of them super easily. Probably by the end of day 1, no problem, they'll be super cheap. Definitely by day 2, if you're a little bit slower getting to the end game and everything, then like day 2 and day 3 readily available, and any later into the league you'll for sure be able to get them. So You have all of that going for you, and I think it should be very strong. I'm waiting for POB to come out um, so I can get the new numbers with it, but I was able to, with the right setup, for the clearing version of the build, hit about 800,000 DPS in the current POB with some gear, and then for single target on the weapon swap, about 2 million, and you should be able to multiply that by 2.5 with the 150% more since there were no other nerfs. And in fact, there's a bunch of buffs with awakened gems here. So like added fire damage, awakened level 5 added fire is going to give +1 to skill gems, which are going to be huge. Wave of Conviction scales really hard, the flat damage, and you got to think, the flat damage scales added fire, it scales the damage from obliteration, it scales hatred and herald of ash. This is huge. So the awakened gems are going to be really nice. Awakened burning damage gives +1 to fire, so you'll actually be able to run awakened added fire and awakened burning to get +2. So you get your level 21 wave of conviction, get 2 +2 scepters, and then you'll get another 2 on here. You'll be getting a very, very, very high level, like level 27 wave of conviction potentially. Swift Affliction got buffed, awakened as well. I'm actually using Ignite Proliferation. You can run something other than Ignite Proliferation. There's plenty of other stuff. There's like Unbound Ailments. If you get enough faster burn rate or faster ignite rate, Unbound Ailments actually kind of double scales more damage because the duration will give you more damage if you're igniting fast enough, if that makes any sense. So Unbound Ailments can be really good. Ignite Proliferation is nice for things that keep spawning in the same area, like I would like using this for, say, like a blighted map or something, because you would ignite things, the ignited corpses would stay on the lanes and things would walk over them, that kind of thing. So Ignite Proliferation is good for that. And then Deadly Ailments. Deadly Ailments is very good. It gives you a lot more damage with ailments in exchange for less damage with hits. If you compare the kind of damage you get with, say, Unbound Ailments compared, Deadly Ailments just yields more damage than almost any other support you can set up. So that's pretty much going to be the setup. Added Fire might not actually be, it is still a little bit more powerful than Unbound Ailments. So yeah, getting that higher base damage really scales that Ignite. And that's pretty much the idea. So basically you just run like Hatred and you would run Hatred and Herald of Ash, get as much like physical damage as extra. In fact, those scepters I was talking about, certain influenced ones can give you that as well. You can also craft like extra non-chaos damage as chaos damage, which is huge because of conversion. You actually get a crazy amount. So in the later version, when you're running Aberrath's Hooves, and you replaced your obliteration, you get one, or you can get the scepters with those as well. Very, very, very strong. Lots of stuff to go on there. And as far as ascendancies, you would probably get Shaper of Flames first, then the 2 Golem nodes, and then probably Bastion of Elements. And once you're geared enough to where you don't need the golems to kind of carry you, you spec out of this. You get Mastermind of Discord and Heart of Destruction probably. And then you can spec out of these Golem Commander nodes to get 4 extra points. So later on, you can kind of spec around and do some stuff. You can also respec into Energy Shield, just spec out of like the life stuff and get like Energy Shield stuff, you know, normal things like that. So it's a cool build. I like it a lot. And I think it's got a lot of potential. It's kind of my hipster wildcard build. So I hope you enjoyed. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I will see you next time. Bye.